Hey everybody, Will Campbell here with the Campbell Group and Royal LePage Atlantic, and this is your Halifax market recap for the month of February. Okay, before we get started, if I can just ask you one quick favor. If you find the information in this video beneficial and you'd like to help us share it with other people so that they can see it as well, please hit the subscribe button and also check off the notification bell so that you get notified whenever we post new videos. Okay, so let's get right into it. I'm not gonna lie, I was kind of nervous when I was putting this video together and going over the numbers for the month of February because I didn't really know what to expect. If you watched my previous video for the month of January, you would have known that I was a little concerned because we had seen home prices jump up over 16% in 1 month, and I personally didn't think that was sustainable. I felt that if we seen another month of growth like that we might see some serious negative side effects as a result of that. But this month's numbers are a lot more realistic. They're still growing, it's still growing at a fast pace, but they're a lot more realistic and a lot more sustainable than 16% a month. We've seen a 4% growth in the average single family home in the month of February compared to the month of January. So yes, properties still are going up in value, but they're not going up at an alarming rate. There were a few stats that I came across that I found kind of interesting that didn't really fit the mold for what's happening right now in the market. One of those being that the average cost of a detached home barely moved. The average cost of a detached home in the month of January was just over $629,000, and the average cost of a detached home in the month of February was just over $633,000. So a 0.5% increase. Not as significant as I had expected. My first thought was, well, how did the housing market go up 4% in general, but detached homes, which are arguably the most in demand, only went up 0.5%? And I think I found the answer. In the month of January, we had a house sell in Tantallon that sold for $4.3 million. The most expensive house to sell in the month of February sold for $1.8 million. So you can see how the $4.3 million sale could change the average price pretty drastically. And as I mentioned, the average cost of a detached home in the month of January was just over $629,000. If you remove that $4.3 million sale from those, the average is just over $607,000, which would imply that the market for detached homes went up about 3.5%, which is almost right in line with what the market did in general. Another thing that I found quite interesting that I don't have a reason for or can't explain is that condos went down 4.5% in the month of February compared to the month of January. The average price of a semi was up just about 7%, which is almost double what the market did in general. And mini home prices were down almost 9%, but we had a very, very small sample size of mini homes sell in the month of February, so that might just be a coincidence. Average days on market is still sitting at 20 days, but like what I tell most people is the average days on market includes all properties that sell. So it includes the properties that sell with multiple offers within the first week, but it also includes properties that have been sitting on the market for over 100 days. And what I always tell people is I could show you a list of comparable sales in your area, and what you'll find is most houses will say 5 days, 6 days, 8 days, 9 days on market. The only reason that number is not 1 or 2 is because it's not in the seller's best interest to accept the first offer that they get. If that's what they did, then offers would be submitted immediately after a showing, the showings would be taking place immediately after the property is listed, and the house would be sold in under 12 hours. But it's not in the seller's best interest to do that. It's in their best interest to give an appropriate amount of time to let everybody come through the property and see it and not feel pressured to write an offer immediately, so that they can sit down, crunch their numbers, and submit an offer that they think is reasonable. Another thing I wanted to touch on because it's relevant and was just announced today is the Bank of Canada announced a 0.25% interest rate hike, bringing the previous rate of 0.25% up to 0.5%. Now, if you've been watching my previous videos, you know that I've basically been begging for an interest rate hike for a while. I don't believe, though, that the 0.25% interest rate hike will have much of an effect on the market. If we see 2, 3, 4 more of these by the end of the year, then yes, it probably will. But this interest rate hike alone probably won't have much of an effect. So 3 takeaways from this video. 1, there's a chance we might be seeing the market soften a little bit. It's definitely too early to tell, but if we keep looking at these numbers on a monthly basis, we'll be able to determine just when the market plateaus. Number 2, of all of the different classes of property, right now, semi-detached is probably the least attractive. If you have a budget that only really allows for you to buy a semi, then it's still a good deal. Owning real estate in general is still a good idea. And if that's your only option, then you definitely should pursue that. But if we're comparing it to the option of buying a detached home or a condo, the gap between semi-detached and detached has never been smaller. And the smaller that gap gets, the less attractive it's gonna be to buy a semi. Mini homes still remain some of the best investment options out there. They come with their own set of challenges, but typically speaking, the price point on them is super low right now, and the opportunity for them to climb in value is tremendous. And number 3 is interest rates have gone up. If you're a buyer, you don't need to feel super stressed. It's only 0.25%. So if you don't lock something in before your pre-approval expires, you will pay a higher interest rate. But at the end of the day, it's a fairly insignificant hike. It's probably not gonna make or break your purchase. If you're a seller, this interest rate hike will have an effect on the affordability or the amount of money buyers have to spend on houses. But again, the upward pressure we're feeling on the market, this interest rate hike, in my opinion, is not going to be enough to really soften it. So I think you can still count on property values going up. Thank you for watching this video. If you have any questions or if you just want to chat with me about real estate, feel free to click the link in the description below to book a call with me. We can chat about potentially selling your place, finding you a new place, or if you just want to pick my brain on some real estate related topics, I'd be more than happy to do that. Thanks again for watching and have a great day.